It's called The Beginning of Me. The beginning of me? That's really interesting. So I said, where have you got this subject from? I'm curious. And she said, from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And I said, okay. So I looked it up and I found out where it came from Book 2, Sutra 6, which talks about egoism. And that was her point, the beginning of me. It actually says in that sutra what egoism is all about. But to get the background of the full story, it's really quite a deep subject actually. Sri Patanjali, just before that, tells us, and for those who don't know Sri Patanjali, he's about 3,000 years old. He's the, what you call it, the master of yoga. He put all these sutras, all these teachings down. He put these teachings down so mankind can learn from this incredible spiritual psychology. So anyway, just before this sutra, he talks about what gets us in trouble in this world. Why do we keep making the same mistakes again and again? Why do we keep suffering? And he tells us, know these things. This is the reason why you keep suffering again and again and again. So he lists them down as 5 things. The first thing is responsible for all the other 4 things, and the first thing is ignorance. So what is ignorance? And he defines it very clearly. It is regarding the unreal as real, the non-self as the self. It's identifying with pleasant things when they're really quite painful, or including painful things and thinking they're quite pleasant. This is ignorance. Who are we? Have we forgotten who we are? And then from ignorance comes the next one, egoism. Because we've forgotten who we really are, that we are spirit, that we are energy, that we are consciousness. You know, we're all one. We forgot. It's easy to forget. The Bhagavad Gita says, thousands come to this path to find me, meaning the divine energy, consciousness, God, whatever you want to call it. But very few are willing to take that journey. And those few who take that journey become closely united with me. The moment they step into this journey of truth, of spirit, of love, of soul, I am with them. I am with them. And this is the spiritual practice. So egoism, Sri Patanjali says, is what happens when we identify so much with our physical body, so much with our physical body, that we think that we are what we think we are on this earth. When in reality, we're only here for a short time. Energy, consciousness, science is all proving it now. They call it the quantum field. It's the quantum field of consciousness, they call it. The yogis always knew that it was everywhere. It is everywhere. That we do all come from the source. And for me, I learned quite a few years ago that God wanted to know God in all of us. And what is the fallacy of life, and what is the fallacy in us? What is the fallacy in us? We lie to ourselves. We think it can exist in everybody else, but it doesn't belong here in our souls. So we keep all our lives trying to be like somebody else, or trying to be something we're not, and running away from ourselves. But the truth is we can't run away from ourselves, and there's nowhere to run, because it's in us. There's nowhere to go, because this energy that lives in me, lives in you, lives in the trees, lives in everything. We're all made up of the 5 elements: earth, fire, air, water, ether. We are consisting of this. But earth, water, fire, all this stays here. What goes off? What leaves the body when we die? And we keep forgetting it. We keep going back to, my ego, because egoism is what gets us caught in the real trap. From egoism comes all our attachments. I need this to be happy. I have to have this, otherwise I'm not happy. It's all based on the I. You know, my master was very clever. When he spoke at the Johns Hopkins University many years ago, and it was a medical forum, and he had all the doctors speak. And when he came to speak, he said, look at the word ill. I, apostrophe, L, L. I. So look at the word well. W-E, we, L, L. Did you get it? When you're always thinking about I'm miserable, this is me, how can anybody do this to me? Why not? They do it to everybody else. Don't you think they're going to do it to you too? Big deal. Do you see, it's that special I that we think we are as an individual. But the truth is, we don't need to hang on to that I ego because we are special. And that's what Sri Patanjali says, you don't need to look for that. It's already in us. That's when we connected to what we call God or the higher consciousness or the higher self. So how do we connect? How do we work with this ego and this consciousness that works through us? And it tells us, it's by practice. It's by every day reminding yourself daily, who am I? Who am I? If this was my last day on earth, how would I live? Who am I? What is my name? Doesn't come from me. And it's a constant reminder. And say, oh, I know that already. Yes, you know it here, but you know it here. And that takes time. Because you'll find that a lot of us may think we're very, very spiritual. And we're still out there thinking we are spiritual out there, but it's nothing to do with out there, it's all to do with in here. What's happening with us? What is our daily thoughts? Now you see on YouTube a lot, which is great. As you think, it becomes. And this is the magic of the divine. This is when people discover and have to remember constantly, it's in me. There are two choices in life. Yes, I've been dealt this card that is painful and hurtful, and I'm so angry, but I have the other choice, how to react to it. You all know the story of the two wolves. Do you know the story of the two wolves? Should I tell it again? Okay, let me tell it again. There was a grandfather. He sits with his grandchildren. You know, children, in your mind, there are two wolves, and they're constantly attacking each other. Really, grandfather? Why? Why do they battle? Because they're different. One is arrogant, selfish, always thinking about himself, greedy, and the other one is kind, generous, loving, always thinking of everybody. Oh, grandfather, they live in my brain? Yeah, they live in your brain. Grandfather, who wins the battle? And the grandfather answers, the one you feed most. And that is just so simple. These simple stories have great truths. What do we feed most in our mind? What are we thinking all day long? You know, I see many people on one-to-one basis, and many of them, when they're into this, why has this happened to me? My family, my brother did this to me, my sister is attacking me, da da da. I go, hello, is anything yours? Really? Do you have ownership of them? No, but there's my sister and my brother, and they should understand how it's my mother and my father. I don't want to talk to them anymore, and I can't stand them. And I go, how's that making you feel? All this anger. Who's suffering? Them or you? The reason why you walked into this room to ask me for help is because you know you're suffering, but you're so angry that you don't want to let go. So let's go back to who you are. Who are you? Who are you? So you have all this problem with your family. Only way forward is accept you have the problem first. You have it. How are you going to deal with it? All this anger is just, you all know, fire and fire makes more fire. So how do you put water on it? So you can't put any water on them because they're not going to listen to you. You all know that, right, in your life? And you tell people they're not willing to listen, they're not going to listen to you. And here they need to do this, they need to do that. They're not going to hear you. What do you need to do? I don't know how to let go. Nalanie, you're asking too much of me. I said, I'm not asking anything of you that you are not asking of you. You are telling me this anger is making you sick. So I'm asking you to listen to yourself. What do you have to do to make you better? I have to let this go from my thinking process. Yes. Why don't you want to let it go? Because I think I'm right. And you may be. I'm not saying you're not. But they think they're right too. They think they're right too. So who's right? Who's wrong? We can't deal with that. I said, you can't change them. It's just more and more. So you're attacking them and you're saying they're attacking you. They're telling me you're attacking them. So what do? I have to explain to them. This is egoism. The need to be right. And I say, when I've had huge problems in my life, I always ask this question, do I want to be right or do I want to be peaceful? I always choose peace. Unless it infringes on my spiritual values. If anybody infringe on my connection to love and to God, then my reaction would be move away. I don't want to know you. I mean, how can you move away from these people? Aren't you a yoga teacher, Nalanie? Yeah, but I'm not stupid. I'm not going to be around them because I know I'm going to change them. So every time they see me, they're going to attack me. Am I a fool? I'll walk away in peace. I'm not a fool. Now, if you can't walk away in peace and you have to deal with the situation, this is the question. This is when the meditation, all these practices come in. This is when you really practice, you know. And my thing is prayer. Prayer. Help me to have the strength to deal with this painful situation. Give me the strength. Give me the love. Give me the kindness. But don't make me a fool. And this is where we have the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita is all about, he has to have a war. And this good guy, Arjuna, doesn't want to fight the war, but his family is fighting with him, and he goes, I don't want to do this. And Lord Krishna, who's the consciousness, is saying to him, I'm sorry, young man, I made you a warrior to protect the people. You don't want to fight, but you have no choice. It's your duty to protect. You see, the wars we have today are not based on love. They're not based on protection. The wars we have today are all based on greed and power. And what's happening on our earth today is precisely this, greed and power. And we can see it. It's everywhere. It's so obvious. Go to all the governments, everywhere you go. I mean, I speak to lots of people in business or in high echelons of life working with governments. And I tell you, not one of them will tell me there's any truth in governments, that it's all corruption. Everywhere I look, even in the healing places, there's corruption. Even in yoga schools, there's competition and corruption. And I go, how can one yoga school go against another yoga school? It doesn't make sense. What is yoga? The word yoga means connection to God. However you see it, like Lord Jesus or Krishna or Shiva, it really doesn't matter. It's that connection. And how do you know that connection? When you get through a lot of pain, I think, it takes you there. Because you can see when you're in a lot of pain in your life that there's nowhere else to go. Nobody can heal you. Nobody can touch you. So where do you go? You may have a lot of friends, you may have a lot of people around you, but really in your pain, in your suffering, you sleep and go to bed alone with those thoughts. And you're alone. But my father taught me a very lovely lesson when I was a young girl. And I will always thank him for that. He used to say, Nalanie, remember one thing. You are never alone. God is always with you. Always. always. And I remember when I was in a Catholic church and we were brought up Hindus, and I'm in a Catholic school, and I said, Dad, I want to go to Mass. All my friends are going. Can I go? Of course. God is everywhere. He's in the temple, he's in you, he's there. Go wherever you want. But fill your heart with love when you go there. And so, as a child, I always wanted to be like my dad, who actually was my first guru, because he actually lived it. I saw somebody living like this, living as I read in the New Testament, you know, love one another as I've loved you, living as I read in the Yoga Sutras, living as I read in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, what is devotion? Causing no harm to anyone. But this is where it gets tricky, because causing no harm to anyone means not causing harm to yourself as well, because you are divine. And egoism also doesn't allow us to believe that we're connected. Because of the big ego, we also believe that the divine isn't in us. We don't have that faith. So we keep chasing shadows, and we keep chasing, and we want to be something we're not. And really, the practice of yoga, the practice of all of these things, is to know that within all of us, this connection with a higher source is available to everybody, and we all are made so differently precisely for that reason. Because God wanted to know God in each of us. But don't forget the element of love in us, and don't forget that we can connect with our thoughts. See, the egoism is that we connect the thoughts with the higher self. No, and the Upanishads explain it so beautifully. It really explains it. He said, if you can imagine two golden birds on a self-same tree, your ego and your higher self. Your ego eats of the sweet and sour fruits, and the higher self just watches. And in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, it describes God, Ishvara. And you know, when I first read this, and some of you who study with me will realize this, I go, really? Ishvara goes, doesn't get involved in all our afflictions, problems, desires, doesn't want to know. It just is. What? God doesn't care for me? And it wasn't that. Ishvara is just this vibration, frequency, it took me many years to realize this, of love. Of love, it's a frequency. So it would give us anything we want. So that's the importance of our thinking method. So if we think in a negative way, it will give it to us. So if you're angry all day long, it'll give you more anger. You'll just get it because it's just vibration. It's just vibration. But if you touch the highest vibration, which all the saints and sages speak about, every single spiritual teacher speaks about this vibration, the vibration of love. If you touch that vibration constantly, even though the pain is coming and the arguments are coming, but in your heart there is love, even though people think there isn't, but in your heart you really love, then that vibration will get you through any situation. So the job we have is twofold, and it's not easy. Because one side is we have to be very human, we have to deal with our everyday affairs, and people are going to be rude and nasty, and so how to deal with that. And the other side is your divine self, which is, no, I don't want to deal with anything, just let me love. But that's not possible. While we live in this earth, there is duality. We have no choice. There's always duality, and as my master said to me, I remember one time we went to the States with 17 people, and one person that was traveling with me is giving me a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble, all the time. My mom telling me negative things, that wouldn't let people talk to me, would get jealous. And so, anyway, we had this lovely, 17 of us went to see him, and Gurudev saw us alone, and I was introducing each of them to him because they had traveled all the way, and he gave us that special time, which I realized was very special. So I introduced this woman without saying anything, and then he looked at me. He said, Nalanie, don't you know, in life, where there's right, there has to be left. Accept it. she didn't know, he didn't know. I never told him about her. And it was her, as if to say, you know, girl, you have to just accept it. What are you going to do about it now? He always left, what was I going to do about it now to me? He never made the decision for me. It was always my decision, but he would ask that question, what are you going to do about it now? What is your reaction now? And you know, one time when I first started, my reaction was somebody who caused me a lot of pain, was anger, just, and he said, you have to forgive. And I go, can't. Impossible. And he said, do you want peace? And I said, yes, of course. That's why I'm here. So, forgive. Come do it. Don't make me a hypocrite. Be a hypocrite for a little while. Bless that person. Soon you will do it. Not sure, Gurdjieff, not sure. And he goes, do you want peace? Better do what you need to do then, otherwise carry on being miserable. And that's when I understood it. That was one of my first lessons with him. And this is the truth. It's just the forgiveness, the letting go. And letting go is not doing anything for the other person. We think either, oh, I'm letting go, I'm so generous, I'm so kind. Rubbish. That's not true. When I let go, I become free. So who's being generous and kind? I'm being generous and kind to myself. And that's what he also told me many years later. He said to me, you can help no one, help yourself first. And then I hear the Bible, love thy neighbor as yourself. If you can't see the divine in you, and if you can't love yourself, and you're always finding faults with yourself, and always thinking somebody's better than you, how can you discover this divine energy and this strength? I have to love myself first, and that was his lesson. Because we go around thinking we can fix the world, and I think many of you reaching my age or whatever, at 71, you realize you can change nobody and fix nobody. All we can do is share love. And if our love can uplift someone, thank you for making me an instrument of your peace. Thank you for allowing me this job, because we're all connected. I know it, but they don't know it. But if I can connect with love, then maybe they can see the love inside of them. Maybe you can see what's in you and why you are so beautiful. Why have you forgotten your beauty? Why have you sacrificed yourself because of somebody else's anger, somebody else's disposition? Don't you think you deserve the best? And that's what I kept telling myself. And because I kept telling myself that, and I always use the L'Oreal ad, you know, and I love it because I'm worth it. I love that ad. And I hear my master say, exactly that, you forgot. You forgot, because he used to say, you forget who you are. And we have the chant, right, in our scriptures, Shivoham, Shivoham. What does that mean? Shiva, I am. Shiva, I am. What did Lord Jesus say? I and my Father are one, and you are my brothers and sisters. So we are also one if we're brothers and sisters. People kind of dilute the truth of love because of what? Egoism, what you talked about, what you asked me to talk about. Because they want power, they want control over our minds. They want us to feel guilty, they want us to feel small, that we're not worth anything, so we stay in our place and become sheep. And we don't fight for our God within us. We don't fight for the love. If we have any battle to make in your life, fight for that love in you. Because if you don't, nobody else will. Nobody can do this for you. And I keep telling my patients as well, my clients, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. You just have to find what you love in yourself and work on those things. Work on those things. Of course we all have negative. Like my master said, where there's right, there's left, where there's up, there's down. This is the world of duality, is not going to change. So what is the practice then? How do we do this? And for me, it was years of meditation. And what is meditation with contemplation? You know, people think, oh, sit and meditate, I'm going to have nothing in my mind. Frankly, I don't think that's really possible. not in my mind. It may be, and I've been meditating for over 35, 36 years now. And I meditate every day, sometimes for 1.5 to 2 hours. And I hear myself thinking. Next thing I know, it's finished. And I go, where did the time go? It's already 7:30. I was up at 5:30. And somewhere, I heard myself thinking in the beginning. I heard myself thinking in the end. I don't know what happened in the middle. Neither was I in control of that. It took me because of the practice. It took me, and I explain it like this. If any of you have learned to play an instrument, a guitar or piano, which I did when I was young, and I remember when we had to learn to do the right hand, the scale. Oh, finally got it. And the teacher would say, do the left hand. And I go, uh-oh, there we go again, trying to get the fingers in order. Any of you play the piano here? Yeah, so you know what I mean, right? A different finger, right? So finally get that correct. Then she'll say, look at the music and play it. Right? Yeah. It wasn't easy. And then she'll say, you have to play at this concert. I remember my first concert was 10 years old. I can't do it. Panic attack. I can't do it. Yes, you can, Nalanie. You can do it. She had so much faith in me. So here I am playing Swan Lake. Dum, dum, dum. I'm thinking I had 3, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's what I'm thinking. And everybody claps at the end. And I go, that was rubbish. I played it. But how did I do it? It became automatic. Then when I started to teach dance, same thing happened. I learned when I was teaching my students, I know I can't listen. Slowly, let's practice, practice, practice. And then after a few months, they did a beautiful show. And we did it. I said, yeah. And I always had something we would do with my students. I had about 150 dance students at that time. We were called Eastern Promise, from 4 years old all the way up to 18 years old. Every time before they performed, we put a circle together. We held hands and we prayed. And what we said was, may we serve the people and not think about our fear. Please, God, let us do our best. People are paid to see us. We're raising money for charity. Even that time, please, they're paid to see us. We need to do good for them. And they would. Because it wasn't selfish, do you see? The I was out of it. It's nowadays, people, I'm doing it for you. Young people become so selfish. I am doing this. Why should I do it? Why should I do this? Why should I do that? When you work for the sake of the benefit of everyone, and each one has a talent, everything changes. The energy changes. Everything changes.